Don Bradman's test average of 99.94 is more than 50% higher than any other player in history. In an era of uncovered pitches and minimal protection, his dominance was absolute. He scored a century every 2.7 innings, a rate of consistency and sheer run-making that remains untouchable. Sachin's longevity is admirable, but Bradman's peak is statistically impossible to surpass. He is, by this immutable fact, the greatest.
Bradman's average is otherworldly, but greatness isn't only about numbers, it's about context, adaptability, and legacy. Bradman dominated one main opponent in limited conditions, never touring South Africa or facing West Indies' pace barrage. Sachin thrived across eras, formats, continents, and against the greatest bowlers of modern cricket, Vaughan, McGrath, Akram, Murali, while carrying the pressure of 1 billion fans. He scored more runs, centuries, and match-defining innings than anyone, under lights, on turning tracks, and against relentless pace. Bradman was untouchable in his bubble, but Sachin was universally tested, endured for 24 years, and redefined batting for the modern game.
A remarkable rebuttal, but it overlooks the core of greatness: sheer, unchallenged supremacy. Bradman didn't just beat his opponents, he rendered them helpless, forcing England to invent bodyline, a tactic deemed so brutal it was outlawed, just to slow him down. He faced uncovered pitches, primitive equipment, and leg theory, yet his average is almost double Tendulkar's. Facing more opponents or longer isn't a greater challenge than facing a targeted, existential threat designed solely for your dismissal. Bradman's record isn't just a number, it's a monument to invincibility.
Supremacy is impressive, but greatness also lies in universality. Bradman mastered one era, one style of opposition with limited travel and no subcontinental trials. Sachin mastered all conditions, swinging dukes in England, seaming kookaburras in New Zealand, turning dust bowls in India, and brutal pace at Perth. He wasn't sheltered, he carried India's fragile batting for decades. Under pressure, no cricketer in history has borne. Bodyline was devised for Bradman, yes, but Sachin countered leg spin from Vaughan, reverse swing from Akram, and chin music from Donald, all while formats multiplied. Supremacy in one setting is extraordinary. Supremacy everywhere is greatness.
A compelling point on universality, yet it inadvertently strengthens Bradman's case. Sachin's era saw homogenized pitches, protective gear, and a schedule that bred familiarity. Bradman's limited travel was by ship for months, facing wildly different conditions with a bat more akin to a club. His 334 at Headingley and 270 at Melbourne proved mastery over all available conditions. Facing Vaughan and McGrath is one feat. Facing a strategy designed to physically harm you, and still averaging 56, is another level of mental fortitude. Universality of challenge isn't defined by mileage, but by the extremity of the obstacles overcome.
Bradman's obstacles were extreme, but they were confined. His legend is rooted in 52 tests, largely against England, with no exposure to the hostile pace of the West Indies or the minefields of Asia. Sachin's 200 tests meant no hiding. Every nation, every bowler, every surface, every era of evolving cricket. He faced the speed of Akhtar, the guile of Murali, the swing of Anderson, adapted across 3 decades of change, and still emerged statistically supreme in runs and centuries. Bradman's brilliance is a miracle of one age. Tendulkar's is proof that greatness endures across all ages.
An eloquent summary, but it mistakes volume for virtue. Sachin's 200 tests prove longevity, not unparalleled dominance. Bradman's 52 tests are not a small sample. They are 52 declarations of war where he was the undisputed victor. The absence of certain opponents is irrelevant. He annihilated all who were before him with a superiority never matched. Facing Murali or Akhtar is tough. Forcing the laws of the game to be rewritten to curb your dominance, as Bodyline did for Bradman, is historic. Sachin endured. Bradman conquered. One is a great of the game. The other is the game's greatest phenomenon.
Enduring isn't lesser than conquering, it's the harder path. Bradman's brilliance shone in a compressed window, but he never had to reinvent himself as the game evolved. Sachin did. 3 decades of new bowlers, new formats, new rules, new expectations. He didn't just survive, he stayed world class from 16 to 40, carrying a nation's hopes every time he batted. Bradman forced England to invent bodyline. Sachin forced every bowling unit worldwide to re strategize for 24 years. Phenomenon? Yes. But the true GOAT isn't defined by the tallest peak, it's the one who scaled every mountain, everywhere, and never stopped.
A poetic finish, but it misplaces the pinnacle of achievement. Reinvention is admirable, but it implies adaptation was needed. Bradman never required reinvention because his method was perpetually supreme. Sachin's longevity, while incredible, includes periods of decline. Bradman's career is an unbroken peak. Carrying a nation's hope is a weight, but so is carrying your entire team's batting. Bradman's Australia lost only one series he fully played in. Scaling every mountain is a testament to resilience, but having a peak so high that no one else can even see the summit? That is the definition of the GOAT. Bradman's average is not just a record, it is cricket's impossible standard.
And yet, greatness isn't just about how high the summit is, it's about how broadly it inspires. Bradman's 99.94 is mythical, yes, but it exists in a vacuum, incomparable, untouchable, almost alien. Sachin's greatness is human and universal. He showed brilliance against every nation, in every era, under relentless scrutiny for 24 years. His peaks were repeated, not singular. His decline still dwarfed most careers. Bradman set the bar impossibly high for numbers. Sachin redefined what cricketing greatness means: consistency, adaptability, global dominance, and unmatched influence. Records make legends, resonance makes GOATs, and no one resonated with cricket more than Sachin Tendulkar.
A powerful closing argument on resonance. But you mistake myth for mystery. Bradman's average isn't a vacuum. It's a monument to a level of performance so pure it transcends eras. Inspiration isn't defined by duration, but by awe. He inspired bodyline. He inspired a nation's identity. And his record inspires every batter to reach beyond the possible. Sachin's resonance is profound, but Bradman's is foundational. He didn't just set the bar, he is the bar. True GOAT status isn't about relatable humanity, it's about superhuman achievement. And that, forever, is the Don.
Foundations are vital, but the game didn't stop in 1948. It expanded, globalized, professionalized. Bradman is the paragon of statistical dominance, but greatness must be tested by scope. Tendulkar wasn't just a cricketer, he was cricket's heartbeat across continents, eras, and formats. He wasn't insulated by rarity. He was exposed to constant scrutiny, new rules, relentless media, and billions of expectations, and still thrived. Bradman is the unreachable myth. Tendulkar is the enduring reality. The Don defined cricket's heights, but Sachin sustained cricket's soul. GOAT isn't just who was highest, it's who gave the game its widest life. That is Sachin Tendulkar.
My closing statement: Bradman's record is not just a number, it is the ultimate measure of batting excellence. In an era of uncovered pitches, rudimentary equipment, and targeted hostile bowling tactics, he achieved a level of dominance that remains statistically and spiritually unmatched. While Sachin's longevity and adaptability are legendary, they speak to endurance, not invincibility. Bradman didn't just play the game, he transcended it, setting a standard that defines greatness itself. Numbers sustain debates, but his average of 99.94 ends them. He is, unequivocally, the greatest.
My closing statement: Bradman's 99.94 is immortal, but greatness isn't just invincibility, it's universality, endurance, and impact. Sachin thrived across 3 decades, all conditions, and against every opponent, under pressure no athlete has faced. With 100 international centuries and 34,000 plus runs, he carried a nation's dreams while redefining batting for the modern era. Bradman gave cricket its myth, Tendulkar gave it its soul. True greatness isn't just about numbers, but about how deeply the game lived through him.